Diolch, Llywydd. This Welsh Labour Government tells us that the pressure over the 2017-18 winter so far have been down entirely to unprecedented peaks in demand. Now, I have no doubt whatsoever that peaks exist. They exist around winter, as they do at other times of year as well. And we've heard that there have been some particularly big spikes. But you cannot keep fobbing people off with the same story time and time again, because you're not reflecting what's actually happening and what people on the front line are telling people like me and the Conservative spokesperson opposite. The truth is that our NHS does not now have the resilience to be able to cope with peaks. Bed capacity has been continuously over the 85% safe level since 2011. Over the same period since then, successive Labour governments have cut bed numbers by 10%. I don't think that's a coincidence. We in Plaid Cymru say reverse the bed cuts. We've outlined how we'd want to train and recruit 1,000 extra doctors and thousands of extra nurses over the next decade or so. Hospitals inadequately equipped with both beds and staff, coupled with the lack of integration with social care, means cancelled operations. It means ambulances queuing up outside emergency departments. It means patients on beds in corridors. And it means our excellent staff that you mention and all of us do, and treasure, being put under more and more pressure. It is unsustainable. I've said it before, and I'll say it again here now. I fear that having run the Welsh NHS for the last 19 years almost, Labour can't now face up to the depths of the NHS's problems, because to admit to those problems would be to admit to your part in causing those problems. When will this government take its head out of the sand, admit to the problems and put a proper, long-term, sustainable plan in place to deal with them?
I do regret the tone that Rhun Iorwerth approaches this very serious issue.
You always regret my tone.
Suggesting that we are fobbing people off is a denial of the reality. A 54% spike in red ambulance demand on New Year's Eve is not fobbing people off. That is a real and unplanned for, and how on earth could you possibly plan for that spike in demand? On New Year's Day, the increase in demand was 29% for red ambulance increases. We've seen extraordinary reversals of the normal provision. For example, in out-of-hours care, we saw a significant spike in Cardiff and Bow, and normally in the Christmas period, on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, you see a fall in calls to that service. This year, we saw a significant rise. So these are not pressures you could reasonably plan for in terms of those spikes. And this is a factual presentation of what is happening. And I think to try and suggest this is because a party has run our service into the ground, it may make great headlines for the party faithful, but actually it doesn't really get us to the point of understanding the nature of our challenges and actually being able to do something about it. I think it's my job in government to try and be responsible and responsive and constructive in how we do that. That's actually why, in terms of your final point, having the long-term future for health and care in this country, not being prepared to do something, that is exactly what we have done. On a cross-party basis, we've instructed a panel of experts to undertake a parliamentary review for health and social care. We'll have that report within a week, and we will then discuss and have to make choices about the long-term future of the health and care system here in Wales. Far from avoiding the very real and difficult challenges, we have tried to be constructive and mature in doing so, and we will then have a real and meaningful and demanding basis, both for government and also other political actors in this place and beyond, as to how we then make difficult choices for the future in health and social care here in Wales.